the video that we saw earlier. After the last question, we were talking about the local church and how they help Sylvia. Sometimes we think the best way to help people is to give them what they need. In Sylvia's case, it was food. But that's not. Sometimes we do that, to be honest with you, and I can talk to you that afterwards. Or there's a family situation, we do provide food aid. So just so you know that. But that's not what we did with Assemblies of God, through Assemblies of God Care in Malawi. Right, adults, see if you can remember this. This is fun. Can you remember the name of the programme that was being used to help people in Malawi? It wasn't actually tear-aid, but yes, we do tear-aid. Foundations in farming, were you both going to say that? That's fantastic.
Well done.
Nearly, because I know what you're saying. Okay, so, right, rather than giving people food, Foundations for Farming, run by the local church, gives people training so they can learn to grow their own food. Through the training, people are taught how to get 10 times as much food from their land. Conservation farming techniques being taught by Tearfun's partner are giving higher yields. Therefore, less dependency on food aid during times of low rainfall and drought. Malawi had a particularly bad season in 2016, and yet the families using Foundations in Farming are still seeing much higher yields, and to such an extent that they have a healthy surplus, a surplus on which families can build a future. Okay, now 1 hour away from Sylvia's village, where they hadn't started the programme, there was another lady that we saw in the video. And I'm going to ask the children if they remember what the other lady's name was. Can anyone remember her name? It was Polly. Yay!
Well done, children.
That's great. As well as farming, Polly was also taught how to run a business. Can anyone remember what she was making in that bubbling oil? Yeah.
Donuts.
Fantastic.
Donuts.
Okay. Like Elisha, the local church didn't just do what we might first expect. Like the widow in 2 Kings 4, Polly, with the active support of her church, has turned her life around. Sylvia has started that same journey too. So while hunger steals dreams, the church gives training. The farming techniques used by people like Sylvia have been used for generations. That's a lady that wasn't getting enough from her land. But these methods require good rains, and without them, communities are left vulnerable to crop failure. Polly's village, so the lady that was making enough from her land, was thrown a lifeline when Tearfun's local church partner, Assemblies of God Care, got alongside them and presented a simple but remarkable solution. Like Elisha and the widow, Assemblies of God Care didn't just give Polly a handout, they helped her see what she actually had herself, that involved her community, and over time, her life has been transformed. Not only does Polly have enough food, she has a surplus. And not only that, she now owns her own solution to the problem, and is better equipped to solve future problems and help others in the community. Now, according to Jeffrey, who was the Tearfund, the guy on the video, from the Tearfund partner, can anyone guess what giving like Jesus means? How does Jesus give to us?
Unconditional.
Now, I can tell you, because I know I feel such a recipient of this, he gives unconditionally when we are saved. And he gives to people who can't get that. Because we all know when we were saved how we had nothing to offer, and we know that we were totally dependent on Him, and He just welcomed us in and loved us. In Malawi, Tearfund's local church partners are giving like Jesus, following Him to where the need is greatest. Tearfund seek out those that are most in need in communities, the poorest of the poor. And they provide material, practical support and training and help, and also spiritual care. They'll pray for people, they'll lead people to Christ, they will disciple people so they can get to know Jesus more and more. And they do that to thousands of people like Polly and Sylvia. They are bringing hope to some of the most desperate situations and providing people with the knowledge, skills and tools to help those in need. Futures are being rewritten. I worked in Tearfund. Week on week I had the stories coming in from around the field, and they were just God stories. They were full of transformation, life change, people loving the Lord, people released from poverty. It was phenomenal. I felt like I had this kingdom view, which means you see the kingdom of God big and broad, and it was like an international view I had of what the Lord was doing. It was phenomenal. I'm going to ask you how much you think it costs to help somebody, train someone to relate in farming techniques and to set up a new business. Do you think it would be £1,000? You can imagine that number, do you know, these kind of £500? £100? No. £10? £10? Yeah? £10 to train one individual. But that's one individual who will care for an entire family. They're going to benefit the entire family. So what I'm going to say to you is, unashamedly, to be honest with you, for those it's right, I'm going to ask you if you consider partnering with us financially. I'm going to ask you that, but I'm going to give you lots of other ways to come on board with this kingdom work, because it is phenomenal. But for those it's right for, I'm going to say this to you: if you want to give £10 a month over a 12-month period, if you give regularly, you will release 12 individuals, 12 entire families from poverty. If you want to do that, there is a little leaflet on your seat. Please fill out your details and hand it to me at the end. But what I want to say to you as well is this: this is kingdom work. The Lord grows money from all over the place, to be honest with you. What I really want to reach out to you and say is, come and walk alongside Tearfund and this work. It is inspiring, it's phenomenal. You can receive a thing called Tear Times, and that's 3 times a year, and it comes through your letterbox, land on your doorstep, and it will just tell you stories about what they've been up to, inspiring stories from the field, and hear about what Tearfund's doing. That's called Tear Times. If you want Tear Times, just fill out your details on there, write on there magazine, and I'll know what you're talking about, and hand that to me afterwards. Okay? The other thing I can say is, there's a prayer email. I knew about the floods. You know the floods they've had in North India, Bangladesh, and Nepal recently, over the last week and a half. I knew about that first because I was on the prayer email, and they really needed prayers into that situation. When I saw that email come through, I then went on the TV and went online and found out about what was happening. Tearfund, because they're on the ground out there already, they respond. They're almost a 24-hour response. They're in there, in the communities helping. If you would love to be a prayer warrior or kept informed of news around the world and what's happening in God's church, you can sign up for the prayer email. So there's another way of engaging. Get on board, it's so exciting. So, yeah, what's another way? Oh yes, now are you a campaigner? Are you a campaigner? Because what you'll see in Bangladesh, the floods, we feel that all this, also in Malawi, the problem is to do with climate change. climate, and the poorest and the poor are least able to respond. I'm going to say this. The most graphic way I can demonstrate that to you is Hurricane Harvey versus Nepal at the moment and Bangladesh. We have had so much news to do with the American floods. We've had less coverage of what's happening in Asia. And that's 500,000 displaced people that are being affected by that. Not displaced, sorry, I better just take that back, so it's going to be 200 saying and that's me that's saying that. 500,000 people affected. Those people have very little, and they're less able to bounce back. They need food, they need aid. We are responding at the moment. We put that down to climate change, tier fund. So the last thing is campaign. There are different ways you can engage with campaigning. We've got a campaigning team, and you can write to your local MP, you can lobby, all this stuff to do with the Climate Change Summit. We would love you to get on board with campaigning for us. So those are different ways that you can engage with tier funds, and we say, come on board, it's exciting. Thank you for listening to you this evening, this afternoon, this morning.